Hey everybody, this is Helena and I'm here with my boyfriend Tom today.
Hi, everyone.
I recently did a community post here on my YouTube channel asking if you guys wanted us to make some videos together and if you had any questions for us about our relationship. And I have to say the top two questions we got were how did we meet and what made us fall in love and want to be together. And by the way, this is the first video we've ever recorded together. I don't even know if we're going to publish this, but Tom wanted to come on and connect with you guys. We want to do some live streams eventually, but he works in an entirely different field and has never even done a video before, have you?
No.
Or talked about some of these things. So we wanted to kind of practice answering some questions and getting good at this. And so we're just going to jump right in. We actually met online. For those of you who aren't familiar with our story, we started communicating 24 hours after I joined the online dating site that we met on. So if you guys have questions about what was going on in my life a few months before that, or what I did to call in such an amazing man so quickly. I know that's not everyone's experience with online dating. Let me know down below in the comments section. I would love to create some more videos on that. But for this video specifically, we wanted to talk about what it was that made us fall in love and want to be together. So I'll let you go first. What is it? Let's just jump right in. What is it that you saw in me, or what is it that you experienced that made you want to be in a relationship?
I would have to say that it was the connectedness I felt when I was able to see who you were genuinely as a person, and I can expand on that a little bit more. I think over the course of the time that we were getting to know each other, I started to recognize some things, aspects of your personality that were reflective of aspects of my own personality that perhaps were things that I wouldn't necessarily reveal readily to most people. And as I started to see some of those things, some of those aspects of your personality, it made me feel comfortable, and it started to paint the picture of who you are. And I think after a certain period of time, enough of those aspects of your personality sort of completed a puzzle, maybe lacking a lot of individual specific details, but it made me feel so connected with you, and that was the point at which I fell in love with you.
I love how you put that. That is so sweet. Now I'm just, kind of guessing what some people are going to ask since we're not doing this one live. I would imagine people might wonder how long that took. Was that, within the first month or so? Did it take longer than that? I actually don't even know the answer to that. So I would love to hear everything you have to say on that.
I think even from the very first time that we met, at least, some of those initial feelings and aspects of your personality started to become evident. I would say, probably the most evident from the very beginning was just the awkwardness, actually, that I felt. Generally, I'm the most awkward person in a room, and I know from experience that's not something that you can really conceal. That's something that is always a little bit difficult, especially when meeting somebody the first time, and that the fact that I felt that awkwardness with you lent a sense of comfortability with you, and allowed us to have a conversation that I don't think we would have otherwise had over the course of several weeks and months and so on.
I love that. I'm like trying not to laugh over here. If you've ever seen the comment sections of some of my videos, it's like no surprise. I thought I was always the most awkward person in the room, but I've always actually loved my awkwardness. And something I always say is men love about you what you love about yourself. So, I mean, if I were to have shown up on that first date and just pretended to be cool and calm and collected, that would have felt probably a little inauthentic, I would imagine, right?
Right. I think, as I stated, I don't think that that's something that you very effectively can conceal.
Right.
It's something that comes out whether you like it or not. And I think that, you have to connect with somebody on that level. And I think that the right person that will recognize that and feel comfortable will enable you to have good conversations that might be challenging with other people. And I think that goes along with a lot of the other aspects of your personality, any person's personality that are maybe challenging or things that you would typically want to conceal. I think the right person will see those things and will feel even more connected and more drawn out, and will feel even more, kind of at one with you.
I mean, that's something I say all the time. By the way, Tom hasn't seen really many of my videos. At least I don't think you have.
No.
So because I don't want to just like impose what I always say. I love hearing his perspective, just as like, you're not just a regular guy. You're extraordinary in every way, but just, someone who's not in this field. I love hearing his opinion. And so much of it is similar. I always say it's what you perceive to be your flaws or your maybe weaknesses or insecurities. That's what makes the right person see you and know who you are and want to pursue you. And that's eventually what makes them fall in love. I thought your awkwardness was kind of like a nice surprise, I would say, on our first date, because I was just kind of going off a photo, and I know we spoke on the phone just for a few minutes briefly before meeting up, a couple days before maybe, right? So I didn't know. I thought that was a nice surprise too. That made me feel really comfortable. Was there anything else, any other examples, like maybe as a few weeks or so went on, that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I think as we had more and more conversations, and we would take a walk and observe things in public, or if we would watch a movie together, I started to realize that we had the same sense of humor, and we started to very easily kind of finish each other's sentences. Mm-hmm. And I recognized that was something that is very rare, and I think it enabled our conversations to go on sometimes for hours without even recognizing how much time had passed.
Oh yeah, it's like we just look at the clock and all of a sudden it's 1:00 in the morning. We've been talking for 3-4 hours and it just felt like 10 minutes. So right. Yeah, that was definitely something. I know that what made me really fall for him and see him as somebody that I just wanted to be with was when I did open up. It was just met with all the acceptance and gentleness and love in the world. Like, it made me feel so comfortable to do that more and more. I know I opened up to you about some things that I wouldn't necessarily just tell anybody that I had just started dating, I can't even think of anything specific right now. I'll have to think of something, but I remember just crying in front of you, having some pretty deep conversations about things I wanted for myself, maybe some things I've been through in the past, and feeling so connected. And I don't know what that experience was like for you, if that made you feel like that brought us closer.
Right, definitely. I think it brought us closer. I never felt that same sense of awkwardness that I think I felt when we initially met. Sort of gave way to a comfortability with being really genuine with each other, and with expression of emotion that we may not normally witness with other people. I think that was something that really connected us early on, and has always been comfortable, always been a point on which we can connect.
Another thing that made me fall for you, like it was so clear right from the beginning, was just your consistency and just following up. And I never once felt anxious. I never once wondered where I stood with him or what he thought about me or when I was going to see you again or hear from you again, because he was so consistent and it was clear that he was making me a priority. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, we were sitting on that couch right there. I'd come over one evening and you said, because he's a really busy guy. He works a lot, big, important job, works long hours, but I remember you kind of sat me down and said, I want to spend my free time with you, and I want to prioritize that and make more time so I can spend that with you, and I want to really build on something together. So he really made it happen, and he followed that up with action. So I just want everyone to see just how there's so many men like that out there, but I know unfortunately a lot of people experience the opposite of that. Men who are not consistent, who don't follow through, who aren't ready to prioritize a relationship. Is there anything you want to say on that? That was something that struck me about you right away.
Similarly, that was one of the things that I noticed about you right away that is really important, and I think relatively uncommon too. That consistency is extremely appealing to me, and I think that you demonstrated that from the very beginning as well. The regular communication and the energy that you were putting forward obviously gave me the impression that this was something that you were interested in, and that it was something worth worth the devotion to, I'll say. And so I think that that consistency from the beginning and throughout is something that allowed us to progress. Probably at the rate that we did in terms of our relationship.
Yeah, there's just no games. No, I remember another conversation. I think we were sitting right over there too. You were like, I love that we can just totally be ourselves, and I remember you saying something like, we can play games if you want, but that's just boring. Let's just be ourselves. And we were kind of joking about how we just felt so comfortable together, and there was never once any sort of anxiety or uncertainty or ambiguity, at least on my part. And it sounds like you felt the same way.
So yeah, I felt like from the beginning that I was seeing, pretty quickly who you genuinely are, and it wasn't trying to see through a facade all the time. I think there are aspects of your personality that would be like awkwardness, I would say, that are challenging to kind of conceal, regardless, as I know from my own personality too. So I think that allowed us very quickly to really get to know each other, and like you said, there weren't any games or anything, and that's I think important, especially from the beginning. Your energy isn't being devoted to something that's kind of beside the point, really.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, something I hear all the time is people saying how confidence is like the universal attractant, meaning everybody finds confidence sexy. How would you? And I know I'm totally putting you on the spot. We didn't talk about a lot of this, but well, from my perspective, I think it takes a tremendous amount of confidence to show your awkwardness, to show your insecurity, or where you don't feel super cool and collected all the time. And so, do you agree with that, by the way, just from your perspective?
Right, definitely. Mm-hmm. I mean, it takes it definitely takes a certain amount of confidence to feel comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, this was great. One of our lights just just went out, so we'll go ahead and end here. How was that for you? Our first video together.
It was good.
Would you want to do more?
Sure.
You think it went okay?
Yeah.
Should I publish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that'd be good.
Let us know if you guys have any questions for us. Maybe we'll do a live stream soon. We've been talking about that. We just have to get a little more comfortable. Tom wanted to get comfortable just, doing videos and talking about some of these things because, like I said, he works in an entirely different field. But I love how you just so generously wanted to spend his day off, learning more about what I do. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to have this opportunity too.
All right. Let us know what questions you guys have, and we will hopefully see you soon.